Statistics. So here's what I want to know. On average, the people in Del Mar get how many hours of sleep a night? On average, the people in Del Mar. Okay, it's not an answer I want, by the way. All right, I'm just giving you a scenario right now. On average, people in Del Mar sleep how many hours a night? Is it realistic that I'll be able to go to every single person in Del Mar and ask them? Is that a realistic ask? No, probably not, right? So I need to shrink down my size of people that I ask. And those are the first two new vocabulary terms I have up here for you. Population versus a sample. Population for me would be everybody in the town. Sample would be a smaller part. All right, maybe I go over to Four Corners and I ask everyone that comes into the marketplace. All right, that would be my sample, a smaller portion. Okay, so population is who I'm studying. The sample is a smaller part of that population. All right, because it's unrealistic for me to get to every single person in this town. So I have a couple examples here for you to see if you guys can see the difference between what's the sample and what's the population in the problem. So here you go, part A. I want to estimate gasoline mileage of all new cars sold in the United States. And it looks like a group's going to test 845 new cars. All right, so what I want to know is, can we identify what the population is here? And can we identify what the sample is? Population is what you're what you want to who you want to test overall. And then the sample is the smaller portion of that. So here, any takers, population is going to be all new cars. All right, all new cars. Good, Richie, all new cars. But look, it's not going to happen. There's way too many. Can't do it. So I need to take a smaller part of that population, which would be what in our case? 845 new cars. All right? Why it's coming out that thick, but all good. All right. Let's go to part B. We got two more here. You guys can go ahead and read through it. All right. So what's my population here? Who am I looking at here? Which come from what? What's the bigger overall that I want to sample here? Or survey in this case.
The city.
Yeah. Well, you can say the city, you can say the whole city phone directory. Okay. And then that's not going to be possible. Or maybe that is possible. I don't have the time for that. So I need to do something smaller. And what's my sample now? 75 names. Yep, from the phone book. All right, see if you can do C on your own now. All right, what do you got? Population for this one? The parents, right? Not the patients, the parents. And then what's my sample? 10 parents. Not much of a sample, but it is what it is. Okay, we are right on those first two there. All right, So going back to my how many hours of sleep on average do the people in Del Mar get? Now I got my sample because I realized the population's too big. I have my sample. How am I going to collect this information? All right, how am I going to collect it? There's a couple different ways to collect depending on the question you want to answer. Probably for me, and my question that I have with the sleeping, probably want to do a survey. All right, that's one way you can collect information. There's a survey. Everyone's taken a survey before. You have a piece of paper in front of you, or maybe they call you and you answer a couple questions for it. So that's one way to collect information. There's two other ways to collect information: experimental study and observational study. Now, that's probably not good for what I want to do with the sleeping habits. Instead, experimental study. Let me talk about that one first. I think I have a treatment that cures something. All right, I think I've designed this new pill, drink, whatever you want that has a cure for this disease. So an experimental study might be a good idea. Why? Here it is. You got a group of people and you divide them into two groups. You guys have probably heard of this before in some type of science class. You divide them into two groups. You give one group the actual treatment, and then you give the other group placebo. Yeah, one that looks like the actual, but has zero effects. That is experimental. I can't drive that home enough. You have a treatment group and you have a control group that gets the placebo. Now, observational study. This is, look, I know this is like a cruel example, but this is the only thing. I read it one time, 1 year, and I think it's the best way to do it. Let's say I want to study the effects on pregnant women who smoke and on their babies. Okay? Anybody want to tell me why it's probably not good idea, or maybe even ethical, to do an experimental study? Right? Because what am I going to divide them into two groups and tell the one group smoke it up and the other group don't, and see what happens to their kids? Probably not, right? So what do I want to do instead? I still need that data though. I still need that info. So what can I do instead? An observational study, which is I actually go and look at the women who were pregnant and smoked and take a look at their kids versus who didn't. Or I go back and look at some data. All right, that's already been there. So does everyone see in that case why an observational study much better than my experimental one? Okay, because I'm not going to divide them up and say, here, you smoke away while you're pregnant. All right, it's probably better off to look at the people who have already done it. So questions on those two, because those two are ones that a lot of students have trouble separating the difference between them. All an observational study is you're looking at what already happened and making a conclusion. All right, you think you can answer some questions for me now? So which one of these did we just talk about where the researcher intentionally intervenes to arrange for a comparison of results? So the researcher's dictating what happens to arrange for and comparing two results here. That's going to be a controlled experiment. Yep. And you know what? You can talk with the people around you right now. Go ahead for the next three. All right, or try it on your own for the next three. What's the best way to collect this information?
Wait, what's the difference between a population and sample?
You tell me, what's the difference between population and sample? Right? The survey I'd give out, population survey I'd give out to who?
The population.
Which would be everybody. Right? Versus a sample, I'm only giving them out to a select group of that population. Okay? Relax, all right? Relax. It is a throwback. All right, how about 2? What type are we, what's the best way to do this, describe the situation? 4, right? Controlled experiment, that's an easy one, right? I separate them. How about 3 now? Why 4 and not 3? Right, I'm only doing the first lunch period. I'm not giving it to every single student. If I gave it to every single student, I'd get the population survey, but not possible, so I'm just doing a sample survey. And then number 4, this is not a controlled experiment. I'm not dividing. What am I just doing? Watching. That's it. All right, so this is your example of an observational study. Okay, that's it. Observational study. Questions? All right, grab those calculators. So once I get all these numbers and data, I can do some certain things. And all we're going to do today is find the mean, median, mode. I know it says without a calculator. I'm not pulling any punches here. We're going right to the calc and learning how to use that bad boy to find all these. All right, because your calculator will find mean, median, mode for you. Okay? You put in the numbers, it'll spit out any value you need, including mean, median, mode. All right, so I got 9, 11, 5, 10, 2, 17, 8, and 13. Find the mean, median, mode. All right, I'm just going to slow it down here. Go to your NumWorks calculator. Let's see, where have we been so far? We've been on you guys have been on calculation. You guys have been on grapher to graph anything. Game changer right here, right? Equations to solve it. Yes, Harper.
This is so random, but
I'm sure.
Are we gonna have the NumWorks on our regions?
Absolutely. You can bring your NumWorks and your graphing. I don't care. All right.
Last year?
No, they did not. This is the first year that they've had them. And technically, it shouldn't even be till next year, but I'm like, we're starting it now.
Okay.
We're starting this now because I'll get into it when we start reviewing, but this thing will get us to pass the test.
Are these like the calculators of the future?
Like,
You have it in your hand right now, so I don't
They
know
are.
what.
Like everybody, like
Eventually, yes. Right now, it's in the sophomore class, freshmen and sophomores, and then we phase it in, keep going. All right. All right, and now we go to statistics. Okay, we go to statistics now. There's actually 2 different places we're going to go this unit, but now we're going to start on statistics. And now you will see what's called the table here. You are to input your table of values here under V1. So the first value we have is 9. So I just hit 9, execute, enter. Now look what happens. You see a 1 was placed in here. That means the number 9 is only occurring once in your set of numbers, okay, which is fine. That's what we want. All right, keep going. 11, 5, 10, 2, 17, 8, 13. And I just asked you to do me, please, one favor before you go anywhere else. Check that they're typed in correctly. Here's why. You guys type those in like you're texting. And I hate to break it to you, we don't have autocorrect on here. All right, you guys type it in so darn fast like you're texting somebody, and easily a 17 becomes a 7. All right, so just make sure you've gotten everything typed in. We all good? Watch how easy this is going to be. Everyone, so you got data, graph, and stats. You want to go all the way up now. Data's going to be highlighted. Go over to graph. I want stats, please. Make sure stats is highlighted. Enter. And let's talk about all these values your calculator is going to produce, some of which we won't talk about until tomorrow or Wednesday. We're looking for, oh, hi, I'm the median. Already done for you. 9.5. So median, 9.5. There's your middle. I don't see anything else. Keep scrolling down. Even tells you what the max value was. Look at that. Interquartile. Up high. There's the mean. 9.375. And this drives me absolutely nuts as a math teacher because you shouldn't need it. All right, but it will tell you the mode. All right, the number that occurs the most up here. All right, but if you go down, you don't see it, do you? Usually there's something here that says mode and it'll tell you what the mode is, but there's nothing there. Why? Does any number repeat? So there is no mode. Okay, remember the mode is the number that occurs the most. And if all the numbers occur the same amount of times, then there is no mode. If there is a mode, your calculator will tell you. Not that you couldn't see that yourself. Questions here? What's the deal back there with the goof troop?
It said 2, but
2?
I didn't repeat anything.
You better go back and look at your list of values. Typing like you're texting. Told you.
Oh, I just had to.
Told you.
Alright, okay.
Yep, told you. Okay, so we're good there. So now we have another problem to do. Same, mean, median, mode. Watch there now. Go back to your data. All right, go back to data. Now, your old numbers are still going to be in there. Now, instead of deleting them one by one, here's how you can wipe out the entire list. So it's all cleared. You hit Shift, the back button. See how there's clear in yellow? Shift there, and it says all data in the table will be deleted. All right, good. Confirm. And we're done. We're wiped out to a new one. All right? Okay, so for this new one here, stop typing. I want you to know what you're typing in. You're about to type in 56, right? But then there's now a frequency column where you're going to put a 4. What does that mean? There's 4 56s if you wrote these all out. There's 4 56s. And then you guys can keep going from there. Just make sure the values are in the value column and the frequencies in the frequency. 73, that a number occurs 9 times. So that's what you're typing in right now. How many times each occurs. Two occurs 5 times, and 86 occurs 5 times. So just a quick check, make sure everything's typed in correctly, and head back up to stats. And pick out the values that we're going to need. We're going to need all these eventually, but we're just going mean, median, mode for today. Median 78. And do you guys see a mode now there? Yep. And it drives me nuts that you need to be given that by the calculator instead of just looking at the table on your own, but whatever. The mean will just go 75.6. And again, the mode is there if you do need it. 73. Okay. So that we're going to live on that one screen for a while. Okay, we're going to live on that one screen. All right, you guys are on your own. You guys know where the answer key is. Probably get done with the assignment before we leave.
Are we gonna eventually need to know what the median means, what the mean means, and then what the mode means? Like remember the definition?
No. It'll just come out and ask what the 3 of them are.
Okay.